Hi you guys, welcome back to Open Book Conversations with me. If you haven't watched my introduction video yet, I highly recommend that you do that first. And if you have, thank you for sticking around and watching this video about truth. So I did want to start off with these set of videos by talking about truth because it is such a broad concept. The word gets tossed around so frequently that it loses its meaning at times, right? So I just wanted to do a little of a dive into the notion of truth through my lens. And the conversation portion of this, if you have any feedback about anything that I may have said to add on to it, or something that I may not have said and to fill in the gaps, I would love to hear it in the comments below, or it would be really interesting to also see a video reply to this video. So I'll leave that up to you to decide. Usually when there is a big concept that is difficult for me to internalize, I love to go back into looking into what the actual meaning is, the literal definition of the word itself. So based on Merriam-Webster Dictionary Online, they define truth in a variety of ways, right? So just a few definitions that I pulled off. Truth is the body of real things, events, facts, based on actuality and facts, or facts. It is the property as of a statement of being in accord with fact or reality. Truth is sincerity in action, character, and utterance. Okay, so that was quite a lot, right? At this point, if I'm still a little confused about the word itself, then I like to look into the etymology of the word. And so etymology.com says that truth comes from Old English truth, which is faith, faithfulness, fidelity, veracity, quality of being true, pledge, covenant. It also has a root word from the Proto-Germanic word truos, or having or characterized by good faith. So interesting. There is a parallel between the definitions as well as the etymology to me. And for that, it is the fact that it is being characterized by having a faith of something. And you can see that by being in accord to this thing that we are talking about. So in a way, it is faith-based. So let's pull back a little bit and talk about truth in the individual terms, right? So truth, psychologically speaking, as humans, very simply, we externalize our internal signals. So in other words, we take actions based on how we feel, right? And so we also internalize external signals. And that portion is what I want to focus on in the realm of truth that we're talking about. So our truth is based on our external structures around us. The country we're born into, the education system that we underwent, the people who surround us, our family, friends, our neighbors, the information we absorb, all of those are external structures that help to shape our truth to what it is today, as I'm sharing what my concept of truth is and as you're listening about it. So truth can never be 100% proven, right? There has to be that level of faith that I had talked about first, but skepticism is also very important because how I'm feeling is something that a person will never be able to feel exactly. Empathy is imagining how a person would be feeling. But the truth is, you can never know to the same degree of how I'm feeling because you are not me. And I can never understand 100% to the degree that you're feeling because I'm not you. And so there is always that layer of skepticism that is always built in because it's just an unknown, right? And that's kind of what I want to define skepticism as. It's not that I don't believe, right? Like the opposite of truth is not a false. The opposite of truth would be not truth, right? And at this point, I do want to mention what I think about facts versus truth. And a friend, hi George, if you're watching, actually brought this concept up, and I thought it was important to define it for you guys too. So the difference between facts and truth: facts are things that can be determined, right? They can be proven. Truth, again, is something that can necessarily be proven. So facts can be truths, but truths not often are facts. And then sometimes facts are not truths because they are not the same facts that that person may believe in. And I think that's where we get confused, is that we think that facts is facts for everyone, but those facts are different due to different people. There's quite a lot that goes into it, so I'm not going to go that deep. But just know that those two concepts, similar but very different, depending especially on the context of things. I feel that oftentimes we are arguing someone's truth when it can't even be proven right. So we have to be very clear about what are we arguing. Are you really arguing the facts? Or are you arguing someone's truth, right? And so I believe that everyone is entitled to their own truth, right? Depending on how deep and contextual you want to go with that specific person you're talking with, depending on how close you are, then you can argue more of the nuance of what their facts is versus their truth compared to yours. But to remember to give that general respect to another person's truth, because at the end of the day, they have their truth based on a lot of things, a lot of collection of things, not just the external stimulus that they absorb, but also their internal feelings and how they externalized them as well. So in my experience, the things that I hold to be true about truths are 4 properties, and you guys are more than welcome to also use that as your framework. What would be interesting is if you do develop your own framework about how you see truth as, and use that for your own guiding light. So for me, I believe that truth is closely related to who I am. And the nuance of that, important to pick out, is that it's closely related. It's not necessarily who I am. The second statement is that the core of truth does not change. So my core of understanding that there is a human dignity that should not be taken away from us and can't be taken away from us. Since I was young, I've had that belief, and that core has been time tested until today, where I'm filming this for you. The third is that truth is fluid and ever changing. And so comparing that to the second statement, that the core doesn't change, the gray layers of my truth, the context of my truth may change, but the core will remain the same. And then the last one is that truth is so difficult to determine. One day my favorite color could be green, the other day it could be blue. And so knowing that your mind is absorbing a lot of information all the time, that you're not always in consensus with your own self, and that's okay. Truth does not have to be this thing carved in stone. So with that in mind, there are 3 tactics that I use in determining my own truth for myself. So the first one is mindfulness. acknowledging that there needs to be a level of space between determining what my truth is and knowing that I need to have that layer of skepticism because it's already built into truth as well. That layer of gap and mindfulness, knowing that, okay, my truth may change every time. And then the second tactic that I have for that is experience. So knowing that depending on your experience, your truth will change. And that's why it's difficult to determine. The third is time. As mentioned in the third statement, the second statement, the core of your truth will be time tested. And when we hold those three to be true, mindfulness, experience, and time, and knowing that truth is difficult, I think it gives you a little bit more leeway into feeling how you're feeling and to know that we are always growing, and to be given that space built into truth and built into our concept of who we are, then it allows, well, at least for myself, it allows me to feel that, okay, so truth is not just this one idea, right? Truth is not cut in stone, not clear, but truth can be this big, massive thing that has layers and it can overlap on other people. I would like for you to think about what your own truths are and, give yourself that space and that time to figure it out. We don't have to have a determined truth at all times, and it's more than okay to take the space that you need to in order to develop what it is on your own. So with that, happy reading, and I hope that you guys have a great day. I will see you next time. Bye!